Alrighty. Well, thanks so much for doing the call, first of all. Obviously, on this edit that we're doing today, we're doing the review of the Slasher Low Pro. And later in the video, I'm going to be talking about my surfing and my impressions of it. I thought it'd be really good to get the shaper involved to see, just where it's come from and everything like that. So probably pulling on that thread, we'll start there. What I guess led into the Slasher Low Pro and what were its kind of origins, I guess?
Okay, Benny. Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, so the Slasher Low Pro really came about after talking to CJ. Obviously we've been building boards together for say 10 years, and the Slasher was one of the very first boards that I made. Siege. Over the time, we've made a number of models, but what we really were always looking for was something that would surf like a high performance longboard. However, a board that you didn't pump. We wanted this board in trim. We wanted to have speed the whole time. So something with wrap turns, nose ride like a traditional board, wrap turns like a single fin, but hold its speed. So that's what we were looking for when we were trying to design this board.
Yeah, and I think I agree with that. Something that I had a little surf on it this morning. It was super fun. And one of the points that I was touching on is how I usually find with some logs, you have a log that'll either turn really well, but then it, I guess, diminishes on the nose riding aspect, or vice versa. You've got a big Californian style nose rider and then your turns are kind of slow and boggy. So yeah, I suppose that was the idea, is it? Working with Siege to get something that did a little bit of everything.
Yeah, what I always look for is when I'm building boards, obviously, is how the surfer connects with the board. So a lot of the times we'll watch guys, for instance, on heavy traditional logs and they can nose ride, but however, when they go to turn, the board's left behind a little bit. Or the opposite, when a board turns really well, the board's in front of the surfer. So I just wanted something to connect with the surfer from their feet to their hips. So when they're wrapping turns, everything's flowing and connecting. Yep. I just didn't want boards to be either in front of the surfer or behind the surfer. So that's how we came up with this board. I mean, and bottom curves, tail rocket particularly plays a big part in this board.
Yeah, awesome. I have a fairly, I feel like, a good idea of the shape and how that kind of works towards everything. But obviously, I'm just the surfer. I'd love to probably hear the proper design aspects from yourself. Let's talk a little bit more specifically around the design. I guess a few things there. The tail, obviously, pretty some really interesting stuff happening there towards the nose as well. Can you delve into that a little bit and what it's, I guess, the functionality of each part of the board?
For sure. Well, I mean, it's really broken up into three stages: tail, midsection, nose. However, what I did is I went back to Siege. I spoke to him about the best boards he's had over his whole career. One of the best boards ever was actually this Pearson Arrow nose rider that Bob Pearson made him. We're going back 15, 20 years ago. And it had extreme tail rocker for a California outline. So I threw that part of the equation into the mix, and that's how we got our tail rocker. And then the belly is quite flat, and then we blend that into a really heavy nose concave. So what the tail rocker, when boards are really flat, they tend to run really quick and outrun sections. So by putting this tail rocker in the board, we slow it up and bring it back in the pocket. So, and also obviously tail rocker allows you to wrap turns and then freeze your boards up. So it's like a handbrake to an extent. However, it allows you to wrap turns. And all I want to do is keep this board in the pocket. And with the big elongated concave, as you'll probably realize, it doesn't look like a nose rider, but it probably nose rides better than just about any board you've been on and that CJ's been on.
Yeah, 100%. And I found that even this morning, like, it feels like as you're starting to walk up the board, it has that really good function of, I guess, putting on the brakes a bit to kind of suck you back into the pocket. I was surfing it at Tea Tree this morning here at Noosa, and that wave does have a lot of natural push. And so I found that was really useful, whereas some other boards might outrun that section because there's so much push down the line. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. Obviously, I've been surfing some variations or some of the prototypes of these boards. I've also seen some really good stuff from, I think it's a surf trip that Siege is doing at the moment. Who are some of the people that are on the boards at the moment?
Yeah, okay. So just one other little thing I'll throw about in that board. What we've also done with that board, different from most boards today, is we've actually got edge in it. So
yeah.
And the reason I'm putting edge in this board is I believe that if you don't have edge, your boards just become slow and doughy. So for guys who are surfing contests and want to surf from the pocket, you need something where you can control your speed and wash off speed and drive.
Yeah.
So that's why I've got the edge in that board. However, going back to the boys are on at the moment, they're actually in Panama of all places. So we got
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Sordia, who's zigzag surfer, he's having a ball over there, and a young kid from Panama, Agus, who is he's killing it. So there's some of the guys over there. Obviously, you've been pretty much on the forefront of me building prototypes. Jack Entwistle's been riding them. I've just actually got Kai Ellis Flint onto a couple, and a few of the local guys around here are starting to ride them. Liam Kennelly, who's making a bit of a comeback after 3 years absence of surfing.
Yeah,
and then we've got Maddie Lumley and my wife's about to get one, and finally I'm about to get one after building everyone else one. So, and yes, I have been riding them before. I just had to sell mine because people wanted them. So obviously, being the shape of my boards come last. So
yeah,
that's who's sort of been on them, and we've got a fair bit of demand for them at the moment. They're doing what we want them to do.
Yeah, and am I able to say was that Soleil that was on she was on one for her Malibu contest as well, won the world title? Yeah.
How can I forget Soleil? So Soleil was actually riding one of CJ's personals. So she got that board a week prior to Malibu. She'd never ridden one, and we just wanted her to try it because the waves were slightly small, and it was a 9.9.
Yeah.
So she just clicked and gelled with that board immediately, which normally takes her a bit of time to get used to boards. So
wow, and she was surfing a 9.9.
Yeah,
Epic.
So that was a really great win for us. I mean, she's gone out and won a world title on it. She's now back on some boards built specifically for her around the 9.6 mark, which she's dialing in now. And we should see her obviously in Australia in the not too distant future riding some of these boards as well.
Yeah, epic. And yeah, I guess I feel like it matched Soleil's surfing so well at Malibu, and yeah, I guess the board, I feel like it's really at home in the point breaks, especially here at Noosa, Posso's back home, stuff like that. I guess outside of my impressions of it, are there any ideas you have around what sort of waves this board's suited for? Yeah.
I mean, look, it's still a single fin, and it's still, but it's based on performance, what we call performance longboarding or power logging. So this is a board that's really for somebody that wants to surf in the pocket. So if you just are looking to surf flat, slopey waves that are 1 to 2 foot and just rolly, I mean, it'll still work, but it's not really ideal for that. You want to be in the pocket. So it'll work on a beach break for sure. Point breaks, sand bottom, reef bottom, just anything where there's where the wave will stand up. And then you can keep wrapping into the pocket. That's when it's going to be its best. But then again, I remember the first one I ever built, I saw CJ ride that in some of the worst onshore conditions I've seen.
Yeah.
And I was pretty much blown. I mean, he blows me away all the time, but some of the surfing he was doing on this board showed me how versatile this board is. And I think because it's got edge and a lower rail than a normal board, it allows turns and be a lot more technical with this board.
Yeah, definitely. Just a little personal anecdote there. I almost feel that with a board like this, like you're right, it just allows you to kind of dial into the pocket perfectly. I feel like my surfing has just gotten a lot more critical and more into the pocket since I've been on something like this. And it's almost like with the, I guess, like you said, boards with a bit of a doughier rail, you almost do have to escape the pocket a bit and go out onto the shoulder to feel safer and more security with your turns. Whereas something like this, it's kind of that extra point where you can just go, cool, I feel comfortable, confident, actually laying the rail into the wave in a more critical section. So I'd 100% agree there, and I feel like that's helped my surfing a lot. That probably segues into, I know we've had some personal conversations on this front, so I wanted to kind of dial this into it, but how you feel like this board is, I guess, I would say paving the way a little bit for where longboarding is going, but maybe you would say what it's kind of trying to push in today's longboarding and where you'd like to see it going. I'm not sure if that's too of an open-ended question, but might let you run with that.
I think everyone's got their own opinion of what longboarding is. You've got your HP guys and you've got your traditional single fin guys. I tend to like it all, but I tend to feel it's very hard to build one board that does everything. So I think this is probably the best option around that will cover all bases. So what we're really trying to do with this board, it is slightly focused, obviously, towards, contest surfing and where that's going with the WSL. But I think where the WSL is going is bringing it back a little bit more of a happy medium, and it's becoming more about style and critical surfing and being basically in the pocket. So if you're not in the pocket, like in contest surfing in WSL, you're not going to get results. So this board allows you to sit in the pocket, become a more critical surfer. It tends to get away from that guy that's out on the shoulder, hanging 10, way out on the shoulder, which realistically, is kind of, that's done now. It's all about staying tight in the pocket and adjusting. So that's where these boards tend to go. And I think what it'll do is we'll see this year in 2024, I think we'll see a lot of the surfers who are getting through heats, they'll be changing their style to suit the WSL, and boards like this, I think we'll be getting them there. I think if anyone's going to ride a traditional heavy-weighted single fin soft rail, they're just not going to get through heats. And anyone who rides anything 2 HP is obviously not either. So it suits a HP guy and it suits a traditional logger guy. So it's a happy medium, and I think that's where longboarding is at its best.
Yeah, fantastic. I'd agree completely, and I can see that, with the criteria with the WSL, this board does lend itself to that. And I'd probably say on top of that, just I guess personally speaking from that, for my recommendations around this board, anyone who is looking to get more critical, get into the pocket, I do think it's going to be a really valuable board for them in that way. Again, later in the video, I'm going to talk more about it, but the amount of lift that you can get on the nose and then how you're able to lean into those turns is a really, really valuable part of this, where I guess some of the other logs that you can surf, you just have to hold your surfing back a little bit. So I feel like you can pretty much go full pelt with this. I'm 100% surfing the way that you want to be. So that's kind of my take on it. A quick little fast fun thing just to finish with here, Chiz. So for the Slasher Low Pro, if you were to sum it up in 3 words, I want you to kind of dial it all into, I guess, something nice and concise. What would you say in 3 words?
High performance power logging.
Hey, fantastic. Yeah, got some little hyphens in between the words there, but that's fine. No, that sounds really good. I'd agree completely. I think it is lending itself to the power logging, and like you said, surfing at 100%. So that's really, really cool. Well, in the next part of this video, we're going to go through, my surfing of the Slasher Low Pro and my take on it. I guess more of a kind of feel aspect, how I'm going to, how I feel the board is reacting and influencing my surfing. But really, really appreciate you jumping on. Is there anything else you would like to, I guess, touch on from that perspective, or pretty happy there?
I'm pretty happy, but just quickly, I think for those guys that, I see obviously a lot of people surfing every day, traditional longboarders, high performance longboarders, and a lot of guys, especially the traditional guys, I see a lot of guys around our area, particularly, who are becoming really good nose riders, but where they're really lacking is their pocket surfing.
Yeah.
And I can, and that's because of the boards they're riding. And I think if these guys are prepared to, and girls are prepared to try something with tail rocker and edge, I think they'll notice their surfing, as you probably notice even on that latest board I've given you, how much it will improve you that quickly. For those watching this video, Ben's on a latest board. I actually gave him a rack board. I didn't build him one. I took one out of the shop because I had faith in this board. And instantly, again, his surfing, I think, has gone up exactly where we wanted it to go. So on that, I think I don't have much to say except good luck in Noosa.
Thank you.
And you remember 2 7s.
2 7s, yeah. Cheers on me. Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, really appreciate you jumping on. Board's going awesome, and we'll keep you updated.
Good on you guys. Talk soon.
Thanks. Bye.